Hello and welcome to Blooming Curious, the podcast that's all about nurturing that natural curiosity in our early years kids and students. I'm Edwina, your host from the Ed's Lessons blog, a passionate advocate for play and inquiry, and on a mission to keep kids curious and asking questions. The days of talk are over. We're diving into a world of integrated, inquiry, and nature-based learning, and exploring strategies that create lifelong learners. So if you're a classroom or homeschool educator, or even a curious parent, then this is the place for you. Hello, today we will be talking about the benefits of getting outside every day these holidays. And to put this into context, I'd like to share some recent findings about technology use. So, most adults and many children spend hours in front of a screen each and every day. And in fact, the research from GWI, the link to this article will be in the show notes, reveals that the typical internet user now spends almost 7 hours per day using the internet across all devices. It's crazy to think that this statistic equates to a person spending about 40% of their waking life online. The GWI's broad global survey of internet users aged between 16 and 64 also reports that we are spending 2 hours and 27 minutes a day on social media. Then another alarming finding that was reported in the news this past week here in Australia is that the recent data conducted by the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD, shows that Australian students are performing worse in numeracy, literacy, and science than they did 20 years ago. And unsurprisingly, it's the use of social media and gaming that is considered to be detrimental to school performance. The survey also found that students who game for more than 3 hours a day were behind in math than students who didn't, or were more behind, rather, in math than students who didn't. Now, I have not conducted any surveys, and I'm not a scientist, but I can only report on what I have experienced firsthand in my last decade of teaching early childhood. And that is that students' oral language, their fine and gross motor skills, their curiosity, their attention spans, and their behavior have been declining year after year. And I'm no scientist, as I said, but I cannot help but notice a relationship between this decline in learning and the increase in use of technology, paired with less time spent outdoors. So it's also quite obvious to me that the increase in anxiety and mental health problems have increased in line with social media use, and once again, the reduced time spent outdoors in nature. So with ever-increasing data on the benefits of being outdoors and in nature, it seems the obvious antidote to stress and anxiety and the negative effects of technology on our lives and that of our children is to be outdoors. A recent article in the American Psychological Association, and again I'll link to them in the show notes, outlines the mounting body of research that points to a host of benefits associated with spending time outdoors, which include increased well-being, happiness, and improved cognitive function. There's also alarming statistics cited in the article of the detrimental effects that a lack of green space has on our children in later life, especially when it comes to psychiatric disorders. So with these alarming statistics in mind, why not use the holiday season to break old habits and acquire some new ones? We adults are exhausted from increased workloads and time spent in front of computers. Too much time scrolling through social media and not enough time spent on activities that rejuvenate our tired spirits. And I know that I am sometimes really guilty of this too. Parents are worried that their children show little interest in activities other than spending time on devices. So let's use this time to break the cycle. So I'm going to give you 10 top tips for device detox and getting outside these holidays. Firstly, lock away devices, or at least put time limits on them. Out of sight, out of mind, as the saying goes. And I know it's easier said than done. I've been there. And what I have found with children is that if you explain your reasons for making changes and maybe even read them the articles, they are more likely to cooperate so that they know that you're doing this for all of your good and not just because you're just trying to be mean. And of course, this means that you have to serve your device too, because we adults, remember, are also spending way too much time on devices instead of doing something useful or beneficial. Secondly, create a schedule of something to do outdoors every day. Aim for at least spending an hour outdoors each day. I've created a free printable with 24 days of activities to do with kids. I link it in the show notes below. Do some gardening is number 3. If you don't have a garden, visit your local plant nursery and get some indoor plants or even some herbs to pot up on a sunny windowsill. Number 4 is visit a farmer's market. Browse through all the fresh fruit and vegetables and buy some to cook a delicious meal from scratch. And then invite the family or friends over to share. And if you have kids, get them involved in identifying the names of the fruit and vegetables at the market and get them involved in preparing the meal too. Not only are you spending some great family time together, but children are learning new skills and vocabulary. I actually wrote a blog post about the benefits of kids helping out in the kitchen, and I'll link that in the show notes too. Number 5 is go for a long walk. Take your dog, take the kids, or even a friend, or go by yourself. Dress appropriately for the weather and enjoy the sights, sounds, and smells of being outside. And make sure you unplug too. No headphones. That way you can be in the moment. The Japanese have embraced a form of ecotherapy called forest bathing. It began in the 1980s as a physiological and psychological exercise to provide an antidote to tech burnout and inspire people to reconnect with their country's forests. Researchers have subsequently discovered that the time spent walking in nature is good for us. So make a daily walk in nature a habit these holidays. It will not only make you calmer, happier, and fitter, but of course will help you develop an appreciation for your natural surroundings too. And then, depending on where you live, check out your local community website for outdoor activities that may be happening in your area. Things like outdoor movies, outdoor music or theatre, ice skating if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, Christmas markets, whatever takes your fancy, or just go and discover something new and different you haven't done before. Number 7 is have an outdoor picnic. Create some fresh picnic food and go to your favorite picnic spot or even your backyard. Lay on a rug and enjoy watching the clouds float by. Number 8 is go on a bike ride. If you don't own a bike, you can always rent one and have a ride around your local area or even go to some local off-road trails. They're great for solo riders or involve the whole family. Or if it's snowing, I guess you'd go to sledding or skiing or just build a snowman. Number 9 is to create an outdoor reading nook. If you're in a cold climate and it's snowing outside, create one by the window so you can see outside. Or if you're enjoying the summer sunshine, put on a hammock or pull up a comfy chair under a tree or an umbrella and read your favorite book. Bring a basket of books outside for the kids too and get them lying on a rug and joining you in the pursuit of reading. And the last tip is start a new hobby. Everyone needs something that allows them to be in the moment and decompress. What about starting something creative? Learn to play a musical instrument or get a sketchbook and some pencils and go outside and draw something you see, a tree or a flower or part of a building. What does it matter? What about knitting or sewing or crochet? There's a whole new revival in these handicrafts, and kids love them too. And they not only keep your hands busy, but your mind sharp too. Find a local craft group or lessons in your area, or perhaps use that allotted time for your technology use to learn from YouTube. Make getting outdoors a habit these holidays and make it a priority. We go on our devices because we think there's nothing else to do. But really, there is so much we can fill our lives with that is not only more meaningful, but has a positive effect on our physical and mental well-being, on our relationships, and even on our creativity. Find also an accountability partner or let your family members keep you accountable so that you stick to that schedule you created in number 1. We won't ever be able to get rid of technology completely unless we decide to live off grid, but we can bring our lives into a healthier balance. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you all a very happy and blessed Christmas. May these holidays bring you much joy and relaxation. I'll be back next Tuesday, which will be Boxing Day. So if you are enjoying my content, consider subscribing so you'll be notified each time I publish an episode. And with that, I'd just like to say happy holidays and remember to stay blooming curious.